Indy Mogul.
Hey Indy Mogulers, Eric here with a little announcement. Instead of your regularly scheduled episode of Backyard Effects, today we're going to show you a never-before-seen episode of FX Reboot. For those of you who don't remember, FX Reboot is a special series we made for the TV network Epix HD. We showed you the first episode about 8 months ago where I created a realistic Iron Man arc reactor prop. Well, we've got a brand new episode for you, and this one centers around the newest Star Trek film directed by J.J. Abrams. Let us know what you think about FX Reboot by leaving a comment down below. And remember that next week, Zack will be back with a regular episode of Backyard Effects. In the meantime, enjoy the show. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of FX Reboot. My name is Eric Beck and I'm an independent filmmaker and special effects artist. This week we're taking a closer look at the 2009 blockbuster Star Trek. As always, I'll take you behind the scenes of this big budget Hollywood film, show you how they created some of their Hollywood special effects, then see if we can recreate one with some chewing gum, a ball of string, and some old chicken wire. Nah, I'm just kidding. The Star Trek franchise is one of the biggest cult phenomenons of all time. But after 4 decades, some critics believe that the franchise needed a kind of new beginning. Enter the 2009 Star Trek reboot directed by J.J. Abrams. Their mission was to create a bigger, sexier vision of the Star Trek universe that would appeal to general audiences as much as hardcore fans, or as they like to be called, Trekkies. Mr. Abrams, mission accomplished. This new Star Trek had a larger US opening than any of the previous films. It beat out The Dark Knight in IMAX ticket sales and was the first Star Trek film to win an Academy Award. In other words, Star Trek was back and bigger than ever. You might even say it boldly went where no Star Trek film has gone before. One of my favorite action scenes takes place as Kirk and Sulu jump out of a moving spaceship, fly through the planet's atmosphere, then skydive down to the platform of a giant alien drill. Then the red shirt dies, Kirk and Sulu kick some Romulan butt, then find themselves falling through the air again. What I love about this sequence is the intensity and realism conveyed as they fall. When I did some research on how they achieved this effect, I was even more impressed. When director J.J. Abrams and cinematographer Dan Mindell started shooting the space jump scene, they went about it how you might expect. They suspended the actors from sophisticated wire rigs, then filmed straight up so they could capture the real sky as a background. To better illustrate this technique, I've created a highly detailed diorama. Cameraman. He's gonna stand on the ground and point his camera straight up at the real sky. Okay, then you've got your actor. If you remember, they're suspended by that wire rig that's basically gonna move them up and down. So the camera is filming right to the sky. This gets a great shot, but it's very fatiguing on the actor, and it's very complicated with the wire rig. So what they did is they came up with something different that was cheaper and easier. First, they got a platform. Put the cameraman on top, and they got a giant mirror and set that in front of the platform and had the actor stand on it. Then, they pointed the camera straight down into the mirror. Since they're still filming outside and have the real sky, it's gonna come down, bounce off the mirror, and be reflected into the camera's lens. It's gonna create a very similar shot as when the actor was suspended, but it's much easier on that actor. At this point, all they have to do is blow some fake air into the actor's face, shake the crap out of the camera to achieve a very realistic free fall effect. J.J. Abrams and his crew taught us an ingenious way to create this effect, and after I saw how awesome and old school it was, I had to try it myself, in genuine FX Reboot style, for really cheap. For our DIY version of the space jump effect, we needed the following things: a ladder, a cheap reflective surface, an old smoke machine, a leaf blower, and this spacesuit, which I made myself, out of duct tape. We are on the rooftop of my apartment building in Brooklyn, and we're here to try and recreate that awesome space jump effect from Star Trek. Very quickly, we saw the things that we were up against and tried to recreate this effect on a shoestring budget. The reflective foam core was much cheaper than a large mirror, but sadly wasn't big enough to avoid seeing the edges, especially when I shook the camera. Also, standing on the foam core would have damaged it, so we had to change the angle and move in closer. Our smoke and fake wind were also inconsistent, meaning things had to come together just right to get one good take. And while the weather was pretty good, the real wind did make things difficult, and the clouds seemed to move away right as we lined up our shots. Okay, rolling, action wind. Oh, yeah, my God! That was good. It was good. How you doing, Mike?
This is a good way to make your friends hate you.
After a sunny afternoon on the rooftop, we came up with a couple shots of Mike flying in a spacesuit that I think looked pretty good considering what it all cost in the end. Let's see how we did compared to the pros. As you can see, the Star Trek footage has a lot going for it. They digitally added the long drill cable whipping past the characters to further illustrate the falling effect. While our shot doesn't have a fancy computer-generated drill cable, it does have smoke. When our smoke machine hits our fake wind just right, it creates the illusion Mike is whipping through clouds. Both shots use the shaky camera and lens flares to replicate movement and intensity. Our biggest problem was the relatively small size of our reflective surface. Abrams and his crew had mirrors 3 times as big as our shiny foam core. Sometimes you can briefly see the edge of our board, which gave us much less usable footage. And even though the original film obviously looks better, you can see how someone can come pretty close with everyday items. Plus, it was really fun shooting a leaf blower in Mike's face. Remember that you can catch all the action of Star Trek right here on Epix. And if you want to see us try and recreate other big Hollywood special effects for cheap, check out future episodes of FX Reboot. Scotty, beam me up.